through the same holes. Awesome. We have a 1/2-inch gun.
This episode of Ron Spomer Outdoors is all about changing tires on your rifle.
Because everybody needs new rubber now and then.
Seriously, folks, we get a lot of questions from people worried about burning out their barrels. It rarely happens in a hunting rifle, but it certainly does in target rifles. And the problem is not the friction of the bullet going down the bore, it's the flame temperature mainly at the throat. As soon as that flame enters the barrel, it heats it up, and the hotter you shoot it, the more it breaks down, the quicker it breaks down, and we always say, big deal. Barrels are like tires on a truck. When you wear them out, you replace them. But how many of us have ever replaced a barrel? Where do we get a barrel? Where do we start? And do we have to hire a gunsmith at top dollar to do the job for us? We're going to cover all of the solutions so that you will be able to effectively not only swap the barrel out on your rifle when it's ruined, but maybe even change the chambering, or go so far as to build a custom rifle yourself. And Joseph has been down that road, and he's going to tell us all about the newest, quickest systems for swapping your barrel out for something better.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do. I'm kind of an addict. So you can now, thanks to a kind of a phenomenon of the last few years, you can get pre-fit barrels for a lot of the good actions on the market. In the inexpensive realm, the best ones, the most popular ones are the Tikkas.
Well, wait a minute. Before you go there, what's a pre-fit barrel?
Okay, pre-fit barrels where the barrel manufacturer takes a blank and they turn threads in it to fit in your action, and they chamber it for whatever cartridge you choose.
Okay.
So it's a finished barrel that just needs to be screwed onto your action. The trouble with this type of operation traditionally is that rifle actions all had a little bit of variation, right? You send your rifle off to a gunsmith for a new barrel, he's probably going to true up the face, maybe do a few other, action blueprinting tasks. But what with CNC machining these days, pretty much all the modern, let's call them custom actions, are built to such perfect tolerances. The manufacturers have now become comfortable building these pre-fit barrels. You just screw it on and go shoot it. The headspace is going to be within a thousandth or two of perfection. And manufacturers have also discovered that there are certain actions on the production rifle market that are being built to tight enough tolerances they can do that for them as well. So the Ruger precision rifle is one. The SIG Cross is another. The most popular of all of them is the Tikka. For whatever reason, those Finnish engineers tend to obsess over perfection, right?
Nothing wrong with
And
that.
so even Tikkas being built 10 years ago or whatnot, were held to tight enough tolerances that you can just spin up a barrel, thread it, chamber it, send it to a guy, and be confident that it will be within headspace, right?
Now, headspace, guys, is the distance between the bolt face and whatever stops your cartridge in the chamber. Bottleneck cartridges would be the shoulder.
Bolted Magnum would be on the belt.
Yeah, belted cartridges, your head spacing on the belt. Those dimensions are critical so that your firing pin strikes with enough energy to ignite the thing. It doesn't go too far into the chamber that it doesn't go off, or it's too loose that it expands and maybe cracks or splits or something. That's head space. And that's critical, and that's why you always needed a gunsmith to put this stuff together for you, because the slight differences in dimensions from action to action and barrel to barrel would do that. But now with this pre-fit system, they're so precise that you can put the barrel on your action if you have the right action.
Yeah.
How many actions do they provide these barrels for right now?
A ton. So if you get on, say, Proof Research's website, they provide both their standard premium stainless steel barrels, which are pretty good price, and then their carbon fiber wrapped barrels, which are a lot more, but are worth it if you can stretch that far, for a ton of different actions. We were looking at this earlier this morning. So you can just get on Proof Research, click on their barrel tab, and it'll give you a selection. So right here at the top, they've got bolt action barrel blanks that I'm looking at here, folks, and they've got AR style barrels. Zermatt arms. We're using a Zermatt action just to showcase this project. Defiance, Ruger pre-fit for their precision rifles, their 10-22s, and their precision rimfires.
There's your Tikka.
There's the Tikka.
Sig Sauer Cross. That's getting pretty popular.
Lone Peak
Arms.
Savage.
Savage is pretty easy. That's a nice one. If you guys have a Savage. Woohoo.
Yeah, Falcor Defense. There's a bunch of different. Springfield Waypoint. So guys, Springfield's building a beautiful little rifle now. The Waypoint, you can get pre-fit barrels for that. Daniel Defense, Accuracy International, the CZ rimfires you get pre-fits for. The Q-Fix, the Blaser R8, and so forth. There's a ton of them.
All right. So now let's go back over this again for folks who this is all new to, and they're going, wait a minute, am I getting this right? You have a rifle action that happens to fit this particular brand of barrel, this Proof Research barrel. I'm sure there are other barrel makers that do this.
Yep. McGowan.
Okay. You just need to go to their website, see if that fits your action, and you ought to be able to buy that barrel and screw it on yourself.
Yes.
Do you need any special gunsmithing equipment to do that work?
You do. You either need a gunsmith friend you can drop by and have them do it. It takes all of 90 seconds, or you need a barrel insert wrench. There's basically like a
barrel wrench that clamps onto the barrel.
A barrel wrench that goes onto a vise. Yep. Usually it's just padded, a device that you put in the jaws of your own vise. And then the action wrench is a device that slides in the back, engages with your bolt locking lug raceways, and then you put a torque wrench on that and click it to whatever spec you're going for.
The only spec you really need to worry about is the tension, not the dimensions.
Yep, that's right.
Nice. I could even do that.
Most gunsmiths do it by feel. They put a wrench on there. I don't want to say a pipe wrench, but they'll put a wrench on it. Just, that'll be about right.
But once you do that, bang, you're good to go. Right? It is like putting a new tire on your truck.
That's right. Wow. So the traditional method, of course, of getting a new barrel was whether you shot your old one out or you just wanted a different cartridge, maybe you wanted a different profile, length, whatever. You send your rifle off to the gunsmith or drop it off to him. You tell him what you want. He'll order you a barrel, and that could take 2 weeks. It could take 5 or 6 months to get that barrel, depending on how a la carte you want it, right? When it comes in, he'll take your old one off. He'll true up the face of your action, turn the threads on it, on the barrel blank in his lathe, screw it in, and then very carefully chamber it for you, right? Then he calls you and says, it's done. You pay me and I'll ship it to you, or you can come pick it up, whatever. So let's just go with a premium type of barrel, whether it's by Krieger or Proof Research or Bartline, any of those great makers. You're going to spend these days upwards of $350, probably closer to $400 for a barrel blank. When you then send it to your gunsmith and have that work done, if you have the bare minimum done, it'll be $350 to fit it and chamber it.
Right.
If you want any Cerakoting done or the muzzle threads put in there, anything like that, you're looking probably more like $500 plus.
So all in to get this job done, to have a gunsmith rebarrel, what are you paying? $800,000?
Yeah, just about. Probably a minimum of $700 and more likely $900 to $1,000 to have a new barrel. Now, this isn't just a production grade barrel, right? This is a premium high-end barrel. I don't recommend using anything else.
So what a lot of guys are going to say is, look, I go deer hunting every year. I don't need a $1,000 rifle or a $3,000 rifle, which I can just go out and buy a brand new complete rifle from Savage or Ruger or Mossberg or any of these companies that sell these starter rifles that are ridiculously accurate these days. So why bother swapping a barrel out? I agree, guys. Don't even bother. This is for a special rifle or a higher end, higher price rifle. If you want to get into real precision shooting, what sort of accuracy are you seeing? I'm assuming that, well, I know you've done this because you brought a rifle along.
Yep.
What does this particular piece that you put the barrel on, or you had the system worked on in this one, what does that shoot?
This one is a crazy accurate rifle. It's a little 6mm Creedmoor, and it is a legitimate sub half-inch gun.
Sub half-inch?
Yes.
That does it mean 3 shots into half or under?
3 shots into a half-inch or less. Nice. At 100 yards. Yeah. And this rifle has kind of a cool story. I built it to be the ultimate predator rifle, walking predator rifle. It's nice and light. It's shot a lot of coyotes for my kids and myself, and several deer in the hands of my young ones. And with this one, I got a Defiance. This is an anti-X action pre-fit 22-inch barrel from Proof Research. spun them together and put them in. This stock was available at the time. This is Proof Research's Mountain Hunter stock, and it's advertised as a drop-in stock that you don't have to glass bed.
Okay.
That's important. It mostly means it's going to be safe. You're not going to damage anything. It'll probably shoot well. And it was right off the bat a sub-inch gun because I wanted to see the difference. I'd shot a bunch of loads for accuracy, and then I took it to a gunsmith friend of mine named Roland Black, who is the best action bedder I've ever known, because I wanted to do a before and after and see the potential.
Okay.
And he glass bedded the action for me. I brought it home and ran the same exact selection of factory loads through it. And something like 3 out of 5 averaged less than a half-inch now.
Just by glass bedding, it made that much difference.
Yeah. Now, that's a little bit of a different topic than the prefit barrels. But if you're going to kind of build your own rifle, like we're going to show you here in just a minute, what you can do with all the different parts, some rifles it's worth considering on. Now, for folks that want to do that, they don't want a chassis like we've got here to show you. They want a traditional type of stock, carbon fiber, whatever. I really recommend the AG composites now because this one's no longer available. I think Proof has got so much demand, they're putting them all everything they can build on their own rifle.
Sure.
AG also advertises that you can just drop your action in and go shoot it. It'll be safe and most likely it'll be accurate. My good friend Austin Brown, who was actually just elected to the Dallas Safari Club Board of Directors. Congratulations, Austin. He had one built on also a Defiance action, Proof Research barrel in a 280 Ackley improved. Dropped it into an AG composite stock, and the very first factory load he tried in it, nozzler 140 grain AccuBonds, shot less than a half-inch. He hasn't touched it. He's afraid to glass bed the action because he doesn't want to reduce accuracy.
No kidding. I mean, why mess with success, huh?
Yeah. And he's had that rifle all over the world now.
You know, what this tells me is that we are getting to the place now where bolt action rifles are more like ARs, where you can make it, customize it to what you want, which is pretty nice to know.
And really, this whole pre-fit barrel movement came, folks, from the PRS competitive world, where every spring, serious competitors were having 3 or 4 different barrels spun up for their favorite action. They'd have a gunsmith turn the threads into them and chamber them, get everything just right. And then they could shift barrels on the fly when they noticed the accuracy of one of them starting to degrade. They could put another one on. They just keep a barrel wrench and a barrel or action wrench and a barrel vise pad with them, and they could do it themselves. And pretty quick, companies went, I bet we could do that. Yeah. We can cut out the middleman and we can make a few bucks selling these. So that's where we're at today, and it's proven to be really amazing. Another cool advantage is, let's say you have a Tikka, you love it, right? But it's a 30-06 and you really want something cool like a 280 Ackley improved. You can do that, right? You just find a barrel company that makes a pre-fit barrel. If they don't have one listed in inventory, find a place like Carbon 6. I was talking to them at SHOT Show, and they told me they'll build anything you want. Takes a little longer, but they'll rifle with the twist rate you want, chamber it the cartridge you want, as long as it's one of those actions that's built to tight enough tolerances that they can do it. So you get a 280 Ackley for your Tikka action.
Yeah, this is exciting stuff. I was just thinking that we would go with, okay, I've shot my barrel out, I'm going to replace it. That's one option, but you can also build your own from the ground up. A fully custom rifle with parts that are readily available. You just buy the parts, put them together.
Yes.
And you do it yourself.
And you save about half the cost. So I love fine rifles. You get people that, and I fully understand. I mean, I was there not that long ago where anything over $800 for a new rifle is totally out of reach, right? Right. But a lot of those same people will buy a $12,000 four-wheeler.
That's why they can't afford the rifle.
Right. They consider it crucial to their hunt, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, your rifle is the single most important connecting element, like to launch the connecting element, the bullet, right?
The bullet's the one, So it's all about the bullet.
Even though it boils down to milliseconds, if your rifle doesn't do what you need at the moment of truth, you've short-circuited yourself.
Yeah.
So I love a good custom rifle by Gunworks or Proof Research. They're full customs, Altera Arms. There's any number of good ones out there.
They're pricey.
But what if you can build a rifle that'll shoot just as well, configured the way you want it for half the cost?
Yeah, I like it. Well, let's do
Let's
that.
look at some
I
parts.
think you've got the parts here, right?
I do. So we're going to start with an action. This is a Zermatt arms action. I really like these because they have a controlled feed bolt. Should we do this so people can see what we're doing? Yeah, I think so.
I always like to see you open up boxes.
This is padding. We don't need that.
Lots of plastic.
A little bit more padding. Down inside, you can see there's some scope, rail screws, and your trigger screws. We're going to need that to put that fine Timney trigger.
It all comes in a box like
here's
that.
your action. Yep. The scope rail is loose fit for those who want to put just traditional rings on there, but it comes with the appropriate screws, and you just torque them down. Super smooth, super nice action. You can see right there, it's got that controlled feed extractor. Nice. These are a fantastic action. They are pricey. I'm not going to make any apologies for that. Right now, folks, we're building the equivalent of a $7,000 custom rifle, but for half the cost. Okay.
So just want to show folks something. If you've never seen an action without a barrel on it, see the threads inside of that? That's the receiver ring, the front receiver ring, and here's the back receiver ring. But this is the part that's threaded. You're going to screw your barrel in there, and the barrel has got to mate up perfectly with that surface. And there is your recoil lug. So when your rifle recoils, this is catching in the stock to keep the action and the barrel from flying back into your face.
That's right. Now, we can't assemble these here on YouTube because the algorithms might sneeze and be unhappy about us. But we can show you all the parts, and then we can turn off the cameras and build it and show you the result.
Well, we'll show them on RSO TV. That's what we'll show them.
Yes, perfect. We show the whole thing. So this is the barrel now. It looks like it's shrink wrapped, but if you just fold that cardboard around, it takes the pressure off that wrapping.
Yeah, reusable.
And there's your barrel. Okay. So this is a Proof Research pre-fit for the Zermatt TL3 and SR3 actions. This one is chambered in 7mm PRC. It's 20 inches long, has a 1-in-8 twist and 5-groove rifling. And you can see on the back side, they've got a protective rubber sleeve. This is going to take me about 45 minutes to get off.
Stay tuned. Go have a cup of coffee. We'll ring a bell when it's time for you to come back. Come on, mighty muscles.
Yeah, they put them on there as a protective. Here it comes, a protective cap on those
It's
threads,
doing its job,
which is nice. Yeah. And there's another one on the front end that protects your muzzle threads. These come prepared for muzzle brake or suppressor, which is the way I go. Got it.
There we are.
Okay, so now you can see the threads right there. On the side, it says Proof Research and the caliber or the cartridge it's chambered for.
7 PRC right here.
And then it also says what action it's for. Zermatt TL3 or SR3 long action. Chambered in 7mm PRC.
Now we've got to get a trigger on this thing. I see you have one here.
So this is a Timney trigger. I'm real partial to Timneys just because they've treated me so well through 3 or 4 decades worth of hunting. Folks, I've never had one let me down. You can order any number of them. Boy,
Timney pretty much makes a trigger for anything that goes bang, don't they?
They do now, yeah. This one is a match grade trigger. This one's called the Hit. More of a target type trigger than a hunting trigger. The other one I really like is the Elite Hunter. And
you've got a trigger.
There's the trigger in the action.
Now we just need a magazine. Or you might have a blind magazine on a stock that you bought.
Yep.
But they just drop right in.
Usually you put bottom metal on. Since we're pairing this one with an XLR chassis type stock, they're trendy. And for the purposes of a build like this, they're super duper simple. You just screw them on, right? The action bed is machined and it's going to mate really, really perfectly with a.
Are we going to put it on?
A metal action. We are. Yep.
Big reveal. It's a box, folks. Whoa.
Okay, so you're just talking about bottom metal. There's the magazine we're going to use. This is by Accurate Mag, and it's for the 7mm PRC. It's actually labeled for the 300 Remington Ultra Mag, and it works with all those long PRC type cartridges. Yep. Okay, and then here's the chassis. And this one's pretty cutting edge, folks.
Yeah, for the old timers out there, this means in English, stock.
Yeah.
Chassis. You'd think we're driving a truck or
That's
something.
Right. If you want to go real traditional, get something like a Boyd's laminate stock, right?
Yeah,
They're stable, they're inexpensive, they work
classic
great.
lines.
Yep, they will have to be glass bedded, but there is a chassis that this action's going to drop.
So this is all aluminum.
This particular one, it's magnesium. It's a little bit of an upcharge, but it's 30 or 40% cheaper than aluminum and a lot lighter. Sorry, not cheaper, stronger.
Stronger, yeah.
34. I've got my numbers mixed up, folks. It's 30 or 40% lighter and several times stronger than aluminum. This particular one has a folding hinge on it, right? So you can build a nice short rifle and hang that on the back of your backpack, heading into real rugged, rough country, and it'll be compact, right? Nice, tight-fitting hinge, locks up really well. Carbon fiber butt stock with an AR-type interface. And the great thing about this is it's configurable. You can raise and lower that carbon fiber cheek rest to get a perfect cheek weld, which really helps you with
how are you adjusting the length of pull on it?
So the length of pull on this one, I believe you can only adjust with spacers on the back here.
What about screwing it in more or less here?
No, because that has a castle nut on it that's attached it to the hinge. That's pretty permanent. You can interchange the grip though. Any AR type grip will work. This is what I consider the best of the best. It's a hollow carbon fiber version, super light, super strong.
It really is light.
Yeah.
When I look at it, I think it's going to weigh a lot, but that is remarkably light.
They're very light.
You ever weighed it?
They're almost as light. I think they're about 24 ounces. They're almost as light as the lightest carbon fiber rifle stocks.
The lightest carbon fiber rifle stock I know of is 11 ounces. Before
Lex Webernick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rifles ain't unbelievable, but it's hollow when it goes.
Yeah. This stock right here, when you could get them, these were 16 ounces.
16.
Yep.
Yeah, that's light.
Most of them by AG Composites or Macmillan or Manners or whatever, you get their lightest versions, they're going to be about 22 ounces. So that's getting right in there.
Yeah.
Some other things for those of you that like hanging accessories, whether it's a bipod, tripod, whatever on the front end, it's got a Arca Swiss rail machined into the bottom of the forend, and it's got M-lock slots. So you can put a section of rail on there for your bipod. You can put a bipod straight on it if it's M-lock compatible. You can do any number of things with these stocks. Another super cool thing is fully ambidextrous. Take this little black plug out, put it in the other side, drop a left-handed action in there.
God, they think of everything.
Yeah. If you like shooting with a thumb on the same side as your primary hand, you can put a thumb rest right in these holes on either side. Comes with a cool little level bubble in the top. So now it's a little deceptive. If you just get on there and order a chassis, that's all the aluminum, right? That's going to be around $500. Can be less if you do aluminum, right?
The magnesium was around 500. Aluminum's a little cheaper.
But then you got to add your accessories. The hinge is expensive. This carbon fiber stock. But I wanted the ultra lightweight mountain rifle type thing. It's what's real trendy today, and I'm getting into bona fide
if you're
middle age.
anything, you're trendy.
Oh, I'm not trendy.
Spendy and trendy. That's Joseph.
As is, this setup for this stock is probably gonna run you about $1,100. It's a lot, folks. But again, you can get the AG Composites fiberglass for about $400. You can get a Boyd's laminate stock for about $200 to $350. Excellent options as well. But remember, we're trying to build the equivalent of a $7,000 custom rifle here for half the cost. So let's talk about value. Action was $1,400. This barrel will be about $800. So what are we at right there? $2,200, right? Call it $200 for the Timney trigger, $2,400. $1,100 for the stock. We're at $3,500, which is exactly half of a $7,000 custom rifle.
There you go, folks. So who couldn't afford that? You're saving half.
Well, you know, I know there are a lot of folks that do dream of a really nice Gunworks or a similar rifle and just can't see their way to doing it. But maybe you start putting some nickels in a sock every month, you could eventually do this. To handle that a little bit, Ron, it's surprisingly light.
It looks like the real me too, doesn't it?
No doubt.
Yeah, that feels better than I would have guessed looking at it. It's not electronic or anything, is it? It looks like
not that I'm aware of, but I believe it does have a sole.
Does it have a computer in here?
No.
Yeah,
you can, of course, get these in any color you want. My podcast colors for the Backcountry Hunting Podcast are black and orange, so I got them to do their tequila sunrise color, and I think it looks pretty cool.
You can almost drink it.
You can do black or electric blue. You can do any number of camo, whether it's Cryptek or Kuiu or Sitka patterns on there. And yeah, toss that magazine in. You can get a 3-round or a 5-round magazine. So you can go with your traditional hunting capacity for a Magnum type cartridge, or with a little bit more capacity if you're wanting to shoot some competitions, NRL Hunter type competitions or whatnot.
Gosh, that was so quick to put together.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, you buy the parts and you put that baby together. I could see where we could in the morning, in a couple of hours, you could put all this stuff together, put a scope on it, and start shooting.
Yeah. I mean, with them unboxing, what were we? 10 minutes total to build this?
Yeah, and we're spending time describing things. And
we didn't torque it to spec, but certainly if we were just getting after it, that would take the place of our verbal lathering here.
Yeah. And then put a suppressor out front.
Yeah. I have one here somewhere.
What's this barrel, 20?
That's a 20-inch barrel. Yeah. Yep. And just because I wanted to do that real compact mountain rifle type concept, that's why I went with the 20. 22 is great. 24 is great, but you can see that rail is still loose.
Everything, not just light, but compact.
Yes.
Like to be said for that.
And I'm really not a chassis guy. I think they're cold. They snag in brush. They're noisy when you knock them through brush or whatever. But they are so in demand today that I think it's almost a journalistic responsibility to cover them. I prefer a traditional type stock with traditional profiles. I do love carbon fiber or fiberglass for its stability. I think it's worth the money to prevent the stock from moving in moisture extremes.
Yeah.
And give it the rigidity that you can work a bipod hard or whatever without causing that forend to flex and touch your barrel and throw your shots.
Yeah.
This will do the same thing.
And this one shoots sub half
Yes.
MOA?
I've shot groups with that at 300 yards that I could cover with a silver dollar. So that's less than 1.5 inches, which would be a half inch.
Yeah.
Half MOA. Yeah.
Well, can we get this thing officially tightened down and shoot it?
Yeah. We'll
all right.
Swing out to a shop and torque it down and mount a scope on it and then put some rounds through it to see how it does.
Lives up to its billing.
What do you think, Ron? Could you hunt with that?
Well, if I had to, as you probably would guess, I will hunt with anything that's legal and you put it in my hands just so I can go hunting. If I had to throw a rock, I'd probably try it.
Yeah. So what do you think this rifle should shoot accuracy-wise, Ron? If you were to throw out a speculation.
Well, it's definitely going to shoot MOA or better.
Yeah.
And I would expect it to probably come close to half.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't shock me if with a little bit of tweaking here and there, although there's really not much left to tweak, you could get below half inch. You could almost get to a quarter.
Possibly with some load tuning and really good.
Pretty much comes down to the bullet and the load tuning on your hand loads at that point.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, there are some like they build the blanks for Carbon 6, but Carbon 6 guarantees half-inch groups out of their pre-fit barrels. Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Proof, as far as I know, doesn't have a guarantee, but they don't need one. As long as you build the rifle right, they'll generally do it. You may have to do a little hand load tuning like you're saying, but that's true of any precision rifle. Some of them just require some hand load tuning.
Well, I'll tell you what. I would like you to get this thing officially torqued down.
Yep.
And ready to load and shoot. Have you got some ammo?
I have a box of 7 PRC with 180 grain match bullet. Yeah.
I've got to go work on my fencing. The snow is melting and the cattle are going to get on the range here pretty soon and I need to keep them out. So I'm going to get to my fencing and trust you to take this out and shoot it for us.
I was going to offer to do your fencing while you had the fun,
we
but
changed
I guess
it.
if I must,
no,
I
take
must.
it. I accept. Done deal. Lock it down. I'm going shooting. Joseph is going fencing. Wishing him luck. Remember, it's electric. Don't turn it on until you're done stringing the wires.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
I thought you just had to
grin
be
and
tough, as you worked it.
All right, stay tuned. We're going to go out and shoot this baby and see if we can put a hole inside of a hole inside of a hole.
Awesome.
It started to rain on us. Never fails, right? I've just bore sighted the rifle that we built. put together today. We're gonna go straight to 100 yards, see if we can catch some shots on paper. I've got my iPhone running downrange, filming the target. Let's see what happens. Okay, here we go. Awesome. Touch the orange in the center of the target. Shoot a couple more, see if we can get a group to measure here. Holy smokes, those two shots are touching. All right, first group was in a vertical line, probably about an inch. First 3 shots after 1 sighting shot, put on a target. Went down, patched it up a little bit, covered some other holes. Now we're gonna see if we can shoot another group. It's had a couple minutes to cool, and the wind's actually dying down a little bit. Gives us a chance. My rickety bench, makeshift bench today. Right through the same holes. Awesome. We have a 1/2-inch gun with factory ammo. That's fantastic. Super windy. It's gonna be tough to hold a 1/2-inch, but let's see what we can do. First shot, clean barrel, was a 1/2-inch out. The other 3 are all touching.
And now it's time for the tip of the week. Joseph, what do you recommend we all do?
Well, if you're one of those guys that's a lifelong shooter with a real passion for tinkering, you love the DIY aspect of these pre-fit barrels, you're going to need 3 items. You're going to need a vise insert for rifle barrels. You're going to need an action wrench insert so that you can torque them to spec without distorting or scraping something, and a torque wrench that you can set to click over at correct manufacturer's specs. And that's about it.
All right. Sounds like a great tip. Thanks for watching Ron Spomer Outdoors, folks. And be sure to check out Joseph at his backcountry hunting podcasts. And I think your son William has something going on online now, right?
Yeah, he's our backcountry apprentice. That's our little segment for entry-level hunters and shooters and kids on the show, and is hands down the most popular segment of the backcountry hunting podcast. And he and I have teamed up recently to launch a little YouTube channel. It's just called the Backcountry Hunting Podcast YouTube channel. And William is putting out all the effort. He's doing all the editing and publishing. He still makes me be the talent. I use that word lightly.
Yes, we all
on
do.
screen, but it's been a fun endeavor. We'd love to have you follow along there. So like and subscribe from RSO and the Backcountry Hunting Podcast YouTube channel.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. Hunt honest and shoot straight.